Hi, welcome to a new season of Sunday Night Live with me, Miles Crawford. Yes, we're not just on adverts, you know. Today, we're going to be talking about racism with my special guest, Jim Davidson, comedian. Oi. Cue titles.
Representing today, fist up, big up yourself!
I know that recently you've come head to head with Diversity's Ashley Banjo.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, it's a long story, but basically how that came about is that ITV, they've probably might have just seen the program, or it's going to be on in a few days' time, contacted a company called Uplands TV, who are an independent production company. They make films of David Lammy and stuff. They're one we'll call a lefty TV company. They're quite good. And they wanted to make Ashley Banjo's story about the diversity dance. And Ashley wanted to know why it got 25,000 complaints to Ofcom.
So this was the dance that was on Britain's Got Talent, right?
It was, yeah. And this is a program that ITV are making, which Ashley wanted to make, of why people disliked that dance. He wanted to find out about those people. So they contacted me and I said, oh, God, blimey, I've said what I'm going to say. And I had a rough idea that they're going to make me the bad guy, mate. It's quite simple, I mean, to make me the bad guy. So I said, well, I'm not going to do it unless I have editorial control. And they said, no, you're not. The Irish Valerie was the producer. No, you're not going to have that. Ashley really wants to speak to you. I said, I know what he wants to talk to me about. Don't worry about that. So I turned up and I said, I agreed to do the film. They were going to interview me for an hour, just like this. And I quickly realised that the narrative had already been done. The story had been told. I was there to fill in the gaps and they were going to make me the bad guy. So what I did, apart from leaving after 30 minutes, it's really good. I said, Ashley, I said, you've made your mind up. I'm off. Took me mic off and did a Piers Morgan.
Okay, yeah.
But I stormed out. Instead of going out the front door, I went in the toilet. I had to storm out the toilet and go back. And then I had to run back and get my phone because I discreetly left my telephone recording so I could have, and now we've had a transcript. Now, you've heard the real tape.
I have heard the tape.
And you've seen the transcript.
I have seen
We're not going to talk about that, but this will give an opportunity for us to talk about what really happened in that interview.
Sure.
And probably for you to try and achieve what he didn't is to find out my views about certain things. He already had his views. You're a pretty open-minded guy.
Absolutely.
You're the compare.
Yes.
Yeah, you never pass judgment.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so it was interesting, and here we are now talking about it.
And you know, that's what I mainly want to do. I know we're friends, we've been friends for decades.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes friends don't see eye to eye about things. It doesn't mean that I hate you.
No.
You know?
Yeah,
it just means that I don't see the same or think the same about that particular subject.
Yeah.
And this is one that really, really came to mind and touched me because I've got my own thoughts about it. You know, I saw that diversity dance routine. I'll tell you this. I've watched the diversity group.
Yeah, you
outfit.
like them. Do you think they're great dancers?
I did, because they're very creative.
Yeah.
They're always very creative, and from their first appearance on Britain's Got Talent, you're rooting for them.
Yeah.
You know, they're from the streets.
Yeah.
You know, they're built up. I don't know how diverse the actual group is, but they've...
They're not diverse racially.
Racially, yeah. Just of the people that are in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's that's why they've called it diversity, or that was a skillful name
Yeah.
that they used on that programme.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, of the sign of the times at the moment.
Can't blame a man for that.
Boom, you know, very good, very inventive. We see that as creative artists.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I've watched them, and each routine they did was very creative. It had a bit of, one thing I noticed they do, which you'll get, in amongst the routine, they maybe put a compendium of songs in there and did a dance. So they'd have a bit of a Michael Jackson track in, and they'd do a couple of Michael Jackson moves, and you think, oh, that's really good. But then they'll do a film. You know, they'll do some sort of film like Star Wars, and then they'd come into a Star Wars thing with the theme, and they mix it all in the dance set. So you'd easily recognise it when it was, and you think that is really good. That's what I thought the diversity was about.
What
right? The creativeness within their dance. That's how I saw it. I didn't see it as anything else.
You didn't see it as a message?
No message. I just thought they wanted to get to the next round. Brilliant. You got my vote. And then I saw the dance routine that they did on Britain's Got Talent, right? Or the diversity one, which caused all the fuss.
The one with the ending of the kneeling on the chaps.
That's it. And I've got to be really honest. I'm going to be really, really honest. You know, people watching and you, it did disturb me because it was a Saturday night prime time. Yeah. We know about Saturday night prime time.
Anton Deck time.
Anton Deck time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be sitting there with my 10-year-old son watching someone kneel on someone else's neck.
A lot of people thought that.
Right? I didn't want to see that. They've been creative all the way through. Why do they have to take that particular subject and everything on board? They could have done it in a different way. You know, even the way they were dressed for that routine, you know, is suggesting, why couldn't they wear bright colours? Or anything like that. And it didn't touch me at all, that routine.
So during the interview, Ashley pointed out that the kneeling on the neck was the significant, what's the word I'm using? Not a gesture, but it was to imply how black people have been under the thumb or been, you know, downtrodden by white people, etc. And it was a lot for him to take on. And during the interview, he was very, very passionate about things. But the disturbing thing was, and I told him I thought that dance was quite amazing. It achieved what you wanted to set out, I would imagine. But I said, what did you want to achieve with that? Notoriety, fame? They've certainly got both. And it diverted the audience's opinion. But I said that you've captured the hearts of people and you've angered people. Did it make diversity, make us aware of diversity in the country, or did it divide? It certainly divided opinion, and I think he wanted me on there to talk about the bit that I did on Ustream TV. I do the live show twice a week, and I made two actually. He didn't mention the first one. The one he was on about was called Jim, Who Needs Diversity, and it was recorded a day after all this thing about when the dance happened. And I was probably more annoyed than you were at the dance, because I'm thinking this is not going to help racism at all. I didn't once question myself that I might be wrong, or might even say what people think are racist statements during that film, but he certainly took it as a racist statement. Do you want to have a look?
Do you know, let's have a look at that Who Needs Diversity video right now.
And I saw a dance group called Diversity. Weren't they on Britain's Got Talent? All those people are just put together by Simon, aren't they? For whatever, dance groups. I mean, if you can piss, you can dance, can't you, really? Anyway, I saw them doing this most ridiculous thing. And they're all dressed as BLM people, of course. And they ended up with a policeman's knee on the neck of a black man. I thought that was the most indulgent piece of stuff I've seen in ages. What was the point? What was it? Why do we have to reenact some poor man's death? What, you know? And I saw it on the day that a black man was charged with murdering someone in Birmingham and injuring quite badly 7 other people. I hope that's charged for 7 attempted murders? I mean, or was he just clumsy? Did he miss the... Or did he decide, I'll just kill one and fuck around with some others? And of course, the British Midlands Police have caught this guy, but they never put out what he looked like until they put out CCTV, so we could all say, oh, look, that's a black man, rather than saying that's a black man. Well, perhaps diversity should have a look at that, shouldn't they? And not do that fucking dance in Birmingham around the families. Perhaps you can do it as a little piece for the funeral.
Over the years we've known each other, right? You've never been known to be short of a word or two. You know, you speak your mind and that's it. That's what I like most about you. Some people like it, some people don't. Well, but you always just speak your mind. You know where you are with you.
Well, I speak my mouth. Sometimes my mouth works, 10 minutes before my brain or my mind works. But you could see during that, I was quite angry. And funny enough, in contrast to that, I was only angry about the dance being on at that prime time, the same as you were. It was a political statement. Yeah. And I'm thinking it's a political statement started in America that we could do without here.
Absolutely.
We're doing okay here. Why do we need to suddenly remind everybody how awful it is? We should, be more positive. But after the George Floyd incident, I mean, probably 2 or 3 days after that George Floyd incident happened, probably months before I shot that, I put this one on. Have a look, see the contrast now.
Okay, let's have a look.
You'll notice tonight that I'm wearing black and white. This is for me to show some form of solidarity with what's gone on in America. That George Floyd situation, I couldn't really come on and comment about things live without mentioning that. It's outrageous. I mean, it is just outrageous. I won't deal with the way people are protesting. We all have to protest in our own way. I mean, I have questions about that, as everybody does. But I mean, it was just outrageous that we've seen that picture. And a couple of things about commenting on this is, one, there's going to be a court case, and so I can't comment on something that might prejudice some form of court case. And the other thing is, whatever I say, there's people going to say you're racist. It's absolutely ridiculous, but I've grown up with that, the same as of people of colour have grown up with racism. I've been accused of, I hate being accused of things I'm not, and so, but you just have to get used to it and carry on. So let's talk about what's happened in America. This policeman, allegedly, a policeman has arrested a man of colour, although I assume we can now say black because of Black Lives Matter, coloured stuff anymore. This black man was restrained and died. He was killed by a police officer. There's no other way to look at it. And I hope when it goes to court, they're going to give all the full details and this man will get what he deserves. And I hope justice is done. And what's more, it should be seen to be done.
Wow, you see now, that's a contrasting video, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was before the other months before.
No, I can see this. So, yes, you were cheesed off, right? But it was more the dance that you were cheesed off with.
Yeah, the dance on prime time.
Yeah, got it.
And ruining.
Got it.
What everyone needs to. I think people need to work at getting rid of racism in this country. The young people. I mean, people our age. Look at things differently to young people do.
Sure.
Young people look through everything's wonderful and everything. But us old buggers, we think, oh God, it's all awful. But I think that racism needs to be worked on with love and affection and bringing people together. And I thought that dance just ruined everything, tore down the wall.
See, we share the same view on that. Yeah. I was so disturbed by that routine. It's that they're digging up something that's been buried and sorted. Yeah. Right? We know that happened. Look how long that happened. The court case had gone through. He's guilty. He's inside. Yeah. Why are you still doing dancing about it? Why not do something like coming out of lockdown or something like that?
I said that to Ashley. I said to him, I think that your dance really got it over well. And I said, you've influenced so many people, A, not to be frightened of BLM and to accept that Black Lives Matter. I told him that Black Lives Matter. I like the slogan. I don't particularly like the movement. Apparently, it started a long while ago, BLM, didn't it?
Yeah.
Long before the George Floyd thing.
I've got some information here. It started in 2013 in the US by two ladies, and it was more a movement with no hierarchy. So they were just for black people's rights and things like that, because black people were being set on and stopped by police. It's been happening for years. It just so happened that the George Floyd one was filmed. It just so happened, and that's what started the whole...
Wasn't there? The Rodney King situation.
There was the Rodney King situation.
And the riots that happened.
Yes.
You see, but that's, again, a double-edged weapon, what the people are doing. Yes, the Rodney King, and yes, this is, but then the riots start. You know, there's injustice to black people. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to nick a 24-inch TV. We're going to nick we'll take this home with us.
There is that side.
And that inflames the bigots.
Yeah.
Of which, obviously, I'm king of the bigots. But, you know, people, all I think that this does, and all I think that Ashley could achieve so much more, and I told him that. Why don't he start to... He could do now a dance about why some black people are reluctant to take the injection. We've spoke about this.
Absolutely.
We could talk about knife crimes, gangs. You could deal about alcohol and drugs for all different colour people.
Absolutely.
There's no prejudice in the drug world. Don't you worry about that. And he said, no, I just want to I want to find out why I was racist. He believes that the 25,000 people that, and as you know, you've heard him say this on the tape, he believes that anyone that didn't like that dance is a racist. We've got some film of him saying that that anyone that didn't like it was a racist, and then racists, it's all racist, racist, racist. Is this going to help? Is this going to make people say, hang on, Ashley, you're right? I make the mistake sometimes of telling that girl in McDonald's, I want her to say, actually, I'm stupid. You know when you say, can I have a quarter pounder, chips and a Fanta? Do you want it as a meal? No, I thought I'd have it as a football, kick it round the fucking car park. I want her to say, actually, I'm stupid. But you can't put people in boxes. No one's going to come up to Ashley and say, do you know what? Since I saw that dance, you're absolutely right. All it's going to do is make people go, what's this about? You know, dancing is an entertainment. Is it really Ashley's job to... I know personally he wants to do that, but then for every view, there's a counter view. For every action, there's a reaction. And he wanted me on there to say, actually, I was racist in what I said. That's what he wanted me to say. And I did in the end. I said, okay, I'm racist. We done? Is that it? What now? That's it. What now? What does BLM want to achieve? They want me. Black Lives Matter. Of course they do. All lives matter. But that's bad saying that. Do black people getting up the arse a bit more than white people? I don't know. I think it's people, young people, break the law, do stuff. You know, of course Black Lives Matter, mate. Do white lives matter? Of course they do. All lives matter. Until we start realising that and start getting on, we're going to be in the shit for a long, long while. I
mean, where I stand on it all, I think the idea of the Black Lives Matter movement is good. It is needed as a black person.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, there are situations, you know, growing up and even now that I'm in as a black man, that one would see as, you know, different from if there was a white man in that certain position.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it be, I wouldn't brand it racist though, sometimes. It's hard to explain. But people put that word racist on it.
It's institutional type of...
Institutional.
You know, black man, there you go.
Yep. I know, and I've heard so many things and so many people say derogatory things about you. You know, well, the minute your name's mentioned, racist. So let's take it back, right? Let's take it back. The racism that people see about you comes from that character. Do you remember your character, Chalky, back in the day? Back in the 70s
I
now.
know you do it.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
but let's talk about it.
Okay.
Back in the 70s, I was young. You were on TV.
You weren't that young.
I weren't I am for this interview.
Yeah.
And let's take it right back. And I'll put you on the spot here, but
that's
hey,
all right.
You know, So let's take you back. Explain about Chalky.
Right.
I just saw this comedian doing a very good impression of, it was the accent, the voice.
Yeah,
right?
It was.
I didn't get half the jokes, I was too young, right? But it's a voice, and I thought that is very, very funny.
Yeah, right. Here's the thing. I was introduced once years ago in 1974 by a comedian in the Stag shows. You know, he said, and now, ladies and gentlemen, a dialect comedian. Dialect comedian means you tell jokes and you bring the joke to life by putting accents in it. So if it's an Irishman talking to an Iranian or a Pakistani talking to a Chinaman, you do all the accents and you paint the picture.
Got it, yeah.
And there was the West Indian accent that came from a great comedian called Peter Demmer, who used to do, and he was a really off-the-wall, he'd roll a joint on stage. This is in 1975. And he'd say, oh, hang on, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a fart coming. Could you put the echo on? Bizarre. And he'd do lots and lots of accents and voices and those little noises, you know, and all that type of stuff. And he used to do a joke about a West Indian arguing with a Barbadian and an African. And he did these accents, and it doesn't matter what the joke was at all, it was fucking hysterical. And when I grew up in the old Kent Road, when I grew up and left Kidbrooke, Charlton, and there was no black people where I lived at all. I had two guys at school, Georgie Campbell, who had a Cockney accent, and another guy, all Cockney accents. But you go back to their house, and Mum and Dad had them wonderful West Indian accents. Okay. Yeah, right. You're coming to doing all this. No, sit yourself down, and singing as well as talking. You know, doing all this. So it wasn't the Chalky, the West Indian accent I did, was an embellishment of that. Take that accent and make it even funnier.
Got it. Because it is comedy.
Well, yeah, that was the idea, to make people laugh. You didn't set out to upset anybody. And then I went to Blackpool in 1976, and I was doing that stuff. And Little and Large's manager, who they were top of the bill, come and said to me, you know, that the producer said that Little and Large's manager's moaning about you doing that black thing. This is in 1977, I think. And I said, well, I don't know what to do. I just want to do it then. It's a shame because, right. And all the jokes was the black guy being the winner. Always the winner. Because it started off, you think the black guy's going to be the loser, but he's the winner. That was the trick. There, you wrong foot people. And so they said, well, why don't you try and personalise that? Make it a person. And I was never really a one for making a caricature like Ben Elton did, or, you know, the Stavros and all that. I wasn't that sort of character comedian. I was just accents in jokes. And so I said, well, I could call the little character Chalky. He was never Chalky White, just Chalky. And tried to make him lovable, try and make him the winner, give him a bigger dick than the white people, do all that type of stuff. That was okay then. Everyone went, a miracle. That was how Chalky was born. So Chalky outlived his use. Sure. I still speak about it in retrospect. I don't do jokes with Chalky in it. But people still shout out and say, where's Chalky and where's that? And I must admit, I get slightly annoyed with them. Where's Chalky? Because I can't help thinking there's the Johnny Spate effect that I wrote Chalky to be loved, not to be ridiculed. Yeah. And that came back to backfire on me because people didn't fucking get it. Johnny Spate turned out to make Alf Garnett hated, and he ended up being loved. So that's out there. That's the only sad thing. I don't react well to people shout out, where's Chalky? Because they haven't got it. Or maybe they loved that character. I don't know. It's interesting knowing the history and the thought behind Chalky. It pissed a lot of people off now. Didn't piss anyone off then. Yeah, it's all changed. But they're getting pissed off now by something that happened 40 years ago. It's all changed now. Things have got more PC. But if you look at comedy now, what are people getting laughed from? Accents. Omid Jalili, Kev Orkian. Yeah, they're all doing their homeland accents. Jeannie Ashere with the African accent, and a lot of comedians do that in their sets. Oh, I'm at home, and you know, there's a little African boy, and oh, I'm at home, and my mum used to say to me, and then go into the African accent. So that's acceptable now. You know, I've been by an African. It wouldn't be acceptable by me. even if it's the best joke in the world, that made the African in that joke a hero. You know, do you know I've got a Nigerian prince as a nephew?
I didn't know that.
Throw
I did
you
not
now.
know that.
I have, yeah.
That's
call
not
him-
on my research.
Prince Umaguli, how's your trousers on?
Oh, right, got it.
He married my late brother John's daughter, and she lives in Africa as
Are you serious?
as a big white princess.
Are you serious?
Yeah, lives in
So
Nigeria.
you've got blacks in your family?
I know, it's shocking, isn't
My
it?
goodness,
Don't
Jim
tell
Davidson.
anyone, will you? You know, I remember I took him to Charlton and we sat there and had a table and I sponsored the match and we walked out and I bet everyone went,
Like you walk into
look
the
at
pub.
him, he's box ticking. Yeah, walk out on a pitch with me, mate, and tell everyone I'm not
Oh,
racist.
wow, I can imagine that. I can imagine that. It's just like that salon, that cowboy salon, and the guy's in the corner playing the piano. You two walk in through the doors, everything stops.
I know.
Square. How did I get... it's not working. Winston Churchill stood resolute.
We ask God blessing.
Where did you get those?
Good morning, sweetheart.
I just walk into court. They go,
Guilty.
I go, thank you.
Hello everybody and welcome to Ustream.
The worst thing that happened to me was Bernard Manning dying. Now, he did tell racist jokes.
Yeah.
I
he
don't
did.
think I tell racist jokes. I talk about racism. But Bernard told some terrible racist jokes. And I said, Bernard, that's not a very nice joke to tell. Don't be sorry, it's a fucking joke, only a fucking joke. He didn't get it. He didn't get racism at all. He didn't get it. Where I do, and comedians that have got any sense will choose to go to that, that line.
Sure.
Or they think, this is going to bring people together, or is it going to drive people apart? Ashley must have thought this is going to cause... He knew when he did that dance, and he told me in the interview, as you've heard, that he knew it was going to cause controversy. What he is misguided at is that the people that complained about him, and he said that these people are racist. Only the racists will complain about it, which I believe is daft, because he could do so much more.
Yeah.
Who was that young footballer we were talking about before?
Rashford.
Man
United. Yep.
I mean, he just didn't. He put his hand in his pocket too, didn't he?
He put his hand in his pocket, and this is one of my little observations about Ashley. I'm not convinced with Ashley. To me, Ashley's just a dancer who's done really well, and now all of a sudden he's got to say about stuff that I should follow. No, I'm decades way above him, and
I've seen you dance, by the way.
I do a good Michael Jackson move, and I'm just not convinced. I'm sorry. You look at someone like Rashford in his 20s. He's spent thousands of pounds helping less
He has a
privileged
big
people.
heart, and I think it's a big, honest heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's doing good. We're going forward. We've got all that history floating about still that needs to be talked about like we're doing.
Yeah.
It needs to be just thrown out there and talked about honestly, just like we're doing today, from all perspectives. But Banjo has done nothing. I don't know any, I've not seen anything, I've done my research, that he has done physically, dipped into his own pocket for his community, the black side of his community or the white side, mixed race.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed
He
to
is
say mixed race anymore.
Can't you say that? What do you say now?
I don't know.
Diversity thinged.
You used to say
mixed race.
You used to say mixed race. You used to say half caste back in the day.
Yeah, you
But
can't
you
say
say that.
now.
Oh, you're
burnt
racist.
At the stake.
Yeah. Say half caste.
Well, I'm
mixed race.
Well, I'm not. I don't know. I'm half Scottish and half Irish. Born in
So you're mixed
England,
race?
which makes me Welsh. No, seriously, I am mixed race. It's
You're
strange.
mixed race then?
And I always look to my father as my guiding light, being Scottish. I mean, he was an old drunk, really. A nice old chap he was. He was a bit different. So now when Scotland play England at Wembley, I go in the tartan trousers and I cheer on Scotland. But I don't look at Scotland as my home. I look at England as my home. It's how you find your roots. I remember ages ago, there was dear old Norman Tebbit, and he did this thing. He said, the way I see it, he said, is that when England play the West Indies at the Oval, the black people in this country should support England. And I said, he's got a point. He has got a point. This was his... And later on, I'm still thinking the same thing as I'm dressed in a kilt with a tartan scarf singing, we'll be coming down. No, you look to where your roots are and you try and find it and try and emulate it. Text donate to 66777. Help me raise £100,000 for our veterans, and I guarantee you every penny will be spent on those veterans' welfare. Text donate to 66777 and help me help them.
Let me tell you this story. Right, so first of all, whilst it's still in my head, I love the fact as a black person that you, when you talk about black people, you say the word black man or black person. A lot of people who skirt around it, and this is how a lot of black people can read a white person and their views. Most white people, or shall I say a lot of white people, would say coloured. Because they think, if they say black, they think it's polite. When really, it's offensive. We're not coloured.
No. I'm coloured. I'm pink and grey.
Absolutely. Right? So, when you say black, you've got the most respect, or anyone that just says, a black man, we're black, that's what we are. You know, we're not coloured. Right? So that's one thing. And that's what you said in one of the earlier videos that I watched. And that's one thing you just pick up on. Brilliant. Okay? Boom. So you know, from your history, how can he be racist if that's, you've just naturally got that. It's just answers a lot of questions from a black man's perspective.
I tend not to see people as colour, really. I tend to think, because you can't know everybody you meet or you mix with or you whatever, and you tend to generalise, especially as a comedian, you generalise. I could rattle off to you different countries and you could stereotype in one sentence what the people from those countries are.
Absolutely.
Scottish, tight as a duck's ass, etc., etc.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I tend to not look at black people as any different to me, really, unless they're holding up placards in Brixton, want to defund the police. I mean, some of that writing, after that stuff was just inflamed.
It was crazy. It's crazy. Why are they rioting? This is what got me. I mean, when the guy brought those 4 boxes of trainers round, I took them. I said, what are you writing for? He said size 9. I'll take size 10. Get me size 10 next time. But
you'll get in trouble. You'll get in trouble.
But I just thought, why are they rioting for something that's happened in America, in the US? They're jumping on the bandwagon. Jumping on the bandwagon.
I'm glad you said that.
Oh, let me tell you.
That was in my mind about Ashley.
It is, and this is going right back to Ashley that we were talking about earlier, or that we're talking about now. See, it spins all the way back. It spins all the way. We're answering our own questions, our views. Jumping on the bandwagon. Right? Now, there was no reason. He got that slot on Saturday Night TV, and he could have done so many other routines that would have brought everyone forward and brought everyone together, especially coming out of the lockdown and COVID and all that sort of stuff. Why not do something positive? We are the world. Do something like Michael Jackson, something like that. No. He wants to show my 10-year-old son someone kneeling, and it was a big headshot on the screen, kneeling on someone's head on a Saturday night watching telly.
Was it deliberate, or did he just not think it through?
I don't think he thought it through. He thought wow, this is going to be good. This is going to be on point.
Yeah.
This is, you know, what's happening now. It's just like, Ashley, we forgot about that ages ago, mate.
The problem is that I don't know if it's his ego or he's that passionate about things. If he's passionate about racism and how to change it, I don't think he's going the right way. He was so interested in me saying, okay, I'm a racist. He wanted to put me in that picture, and I did for fun, you know, for a laugh, so I could get out the bloody place. But he said to me, are you racist? And I should have said, are you racist? I don't know. I hope people can see now a bit more of where I was coming from. We certainly see where you're coming from. And for me, it wasn't, I don't think I was racist, having condemned that dance at 9:15, I believe it was on a light entertainment show. As you say, you were sitting there with your child. It's, I thought he could have done better. Could have done better, much better. And he has the power and the talent. And I think he's on the ladder to, hopefully, to realise that he can do so much more to bring people together. You can't demand people to do things. When I was a kid at school, the teacher told me of a contest between the wind and the sun, who was the most powerful. And they saw a man walking along and they had a bet, the wind and the sun, who could get him to take his coat off. And the wind blew like hell to blow that coat off his back. And he just held it more like this. And the sun just shone and the man took it off. And that's the way forward. Let's bring some sunshine into this problem.
I totally agree. I mean, people in that position is a powerful position. You know, anytime you're on any television show, a live show or a pre-recorded show, so long as they edit it properly, you have got the chance to make a difference going forward, a positive difference. If you use that time in a negative way, for whatever your reasons are, total waste of an opportunity. You know, that's how I see it. Well, especially with this Ashley Banjo.
Well, thanks for talking to me today, mate.
Well, Jim, I'll just need to ask you one question.
It's not that big.
I want you, yeah. I just want you to answer me honestly.
Yeah.
As a mate.
Yeah.
Are you racist, Jim Davidson?
Well, of course, the other thing is, what about all the mixed race people here? You know, I'm going to say now, some of my best friends are black. I'm not going to say that, but two of my really, really good friends are mixed race. I mean, they're brilliant. Now, they don't look at themselves as black or white or anything. They just look at themselves as people. Is a zebra, right, a black animal with white stripes or a white animal with black stripes? He's just an animal. He just wants to be a fucking animal, no matter how many people tell him it's different. Is the shirt black and white or white and black? All I know is this shirt represents of what we've got to do. Everybody's got to do. We've got to stop baiting one another. Start to love one another like we all can, okay? We're all the same. Okay, people say to me, but you take the piss out of black people. Yeah, I do. If we're all the same, can't I take the piss out of everybody? What's going on?
Enough said.
Squirrel. You what? And who was the bloke that used to stick his hand up that young bird with the nappy on?
Ralph Harris.
An Englishman, a Scotsman, an Irishman, a Welshman, a Gurkha, a Latvian, a Turk, an Aussie, a German, a Yank, an Egyptian, a Jap, a Mexican, a Spaniard, a Russian, a Pole, a Lithuanian, a Jordanian, a Kiwi, a Swiss, a Finn, a Canadian, a Romanian, a Bulgarian, a Jew, a Muslim, a Buddha, and a Hindu all went into a nightclub.
That's right, welcome back to Britain's Got Talent.
Not quite.
No.
Try again.
Two couples, we're going to have to, I'm sorry to say, we're going to have to ban sex. So it'll have to be done, I'm afraid.
Anyway, it comes to 12 o'clock. He said, you see that jobby there? He says, aye. He said, that's my wife's. He said, how'd you know that? He said, I've got my sandwiches tied to it.
Little ones.
Deadly. Oh, Trump.
I turn round. He stood like this.
Denzel Pembroke. He said, yeah. He said he'd been going there for twins, Bobby. Going there for twins, Denzel. I said, Denzel, how do you tell them apart? He said, Dorian got blonde hair and Brian has got a cock.
Hello. Thank you very much. It's lovely. It's just lovely. Look.